the mystery of the dead, the greatness of death itself, the unseen world that walks hand in hand with the living. What makes us so drawn to the ancient art of necromancy? We will discover the mysteries together. Arcane presents the Prelude to Necromancy.
Welcome viewers to the start of our video series.
I am Baron Araignee.
And I'm Baroness Araignee.
The purpose of this video is to enlighten the mind, you as an individual, so we can discover and explore the occult arts together. We will be discussing many different subject matters such as necromancy, evocation, divination, etc. and so forth.
In this particular video, we will be discussing necromancy. Only slight matters thereof. However, as time passes, we will elaborate more on these points that we will be mentioning. Please note that the entire video series will not consist of necromancy. However, this section will.
The subjects we will be discussing in this video will be tools of communication in necromancy, times to perform it, psychopomps, and what they basically are.
The first one is tools of communication in necromancy. Before we continue, we must say, you must always remember that you are the greatest tool, not just in necromancy, but in the occult in general. With a mere word, you can create and destroy. With a mere word, you can open portals and doors and close them as well. You are your own God. Remember this. Now, let us delve into the details. The first most common known tool to communicate with the dead is a witch board, or most commonly known as the Ouija board. First off, we must say that is nothing like they depict in the stories or movies at all. It is very dangerous, life-threatening to be precise. If you do not know how to use it properly, the consequences are dire, to say the least. In order to perform it properly, you must perform certain rites and rituals to make sure that what comes through is actually what you want to come through, and that the information is accurate and proper information. Otherwise, anything can come through, and it is very dangerous. It might be tempting to make use of a Ouija board because everything's right there in front of you, you get your answers so readily. However, this is how you are drawn in. Do not, especially if you are a novice, do not make use of the Ouija board until you have gained experience and you are able to conduct such a ritual properly and safely. The second tool of communicating with the dead are dowsing rods. Most people will think of that Y-shaped stick that is used to douse for water, but this is not what we are referring to. We are referring to the metal dowsing rods. As an example, if you can see, the L-shaped rods made of metal, like so. These particular ones has copper wire around it in order to conduct the energy better, which is placed in something like this so it can move by its own volition, or by technically the spirit's energy. We highly recommend making yourself a pair of these, as they are highly accurate, not just in communicating with the dead, but also with finding ley lines and so on and so forth, we highly recommend it, as well, it tends to work better than most other lesser methods. The third most common known method is a pendulum, which, as you can see, is basically a string with a weighted object attached to the bottom. This particular one can serve as a pointer as well. There. We ourselves do not prefer the pendulum that much, as it tends to be influenced too much by things that you don't want it to be influenced with. Things tend to attach to it, and altogether rather not. However, some people do prefer this method. It can be accurate, granted, if you know how to use it correctly. Then, of course, there are other methods. Like if you have the gift of mediumship bestowed upon you. This is excellent. It does not compare to the others. But you must develop it first. You're not just going to wake up one day and be able to speak to spirits as you see in the movies so often. That is rubbish, with lack of a better word to say. So that is basically, well, the basics. We will elaborate more later.
Times to perform necromancy. Viewer, there is no set time to perform necromancy. Some believe it is better to perform necromancy at night due to psychic energy being at its lowest. However, certain spirits, human dead, can be called upon during the day as well. Especially if you go forth in a place where there might be haunting per se, or the resident spirits of an area. In some cultures they believe that you can call forth a spirit on Saturday night between 10 and 12. However, that is up for preference. It depends what you want to do as an individual and who or what you want to contact. We strongly recommend not to contact a departed loved one or friend and so forth for trivial matters, because at times these spirits has actually ascended and they will be quite unhappy if they are suddenly brought back to this world of men. Some say these spirits cannot be contacted, but there are in fact methods that enables you to contact them. Some say you must tend to the planetary hours and days to align certain energies, which enables you to contact them through the veil. Some say the veil is thinnest at certain hours. Yet again, it's up to you as the individual practitioner. What I can tell you, what we can actually tell you, is not to take these matters lightly, because necromancy is an ancient art, and once you open that doorway, you cannot close it. These spirits will surround you, as well as their essences and their potencies, and that very energy or vibrations will draw even more spirits of a kindred nature or malevolent nature, depends, to you, and it can wreak havoc in your lives.
Next is payment or offerings to spirits. Again, there are no set kind of offerings that you must give them at all. It depends on you as an individual and the preference of the spirit you're working with. If you're contacting the spirit of someone you knew, or if you know the spirit in question, think about what they liked when they were living. What kind of food did they like? What kind of drink did they like? Did they smoke? It all depends. Then you can give said things that they enjoyed in life to them. If you do not know the spirit personally whom you choose to make contact with, there are a couple of neutral offerings that you can give the spirit. One is water. It's one of the common neutral liquids that you can give a spirit. The second is various alcohols. Some cultures say red wine, others say white wine. Some say whiskey, rum, brandy. It all depends. And then, but above and beyond from that, A nice food-based offering that you can give them that all spirits seem to like is honeyed bread, which is simply bread with honey on it. Above from that, then you have the basics: tobacco, incense, and so on and so forth. Of course, this must not be seen as a set guideline at all, as some people burn money to spirits, spirit money and so forth, and some real money. Some give certain objects to spirit while others don't. At the end of the day, it's all up to you, and of course, what the spirit wants.
Psychopomps. What is psychopomps, or scatonic forces? Well, basically, psychopomps is those who guide and some say rule the human dead. It is said that these beings rule over the underworld, which has many names through many different cultures. What we came to discover about psychopomps is as follows. They are more times helpful than they are not, and if you perform any necromantic arts, it is in your best interest to call upon a psychopomp. They will make sure that the dead knows their place, so to speak, and that they do as they are instructed to do by the necromancer. They also protect you during the rite. They open and close doors or gateways which needs to be closed and opened. And they will disperse any negative energy that is attracted to your rite. So we strongly suggest in working with these magnificent forces, for they will be a great ally to you, or if you piss them off, they'll be your worst enemy. So yet again, it's up to the individual practitioner. The choice is yours.
Now, in our next video, we will be visiting one of our local cemeteries here in South Africa. We will be discussing the basics of cemetery work, step by step if you will, and we will be discussing the dead as a whole. What to do and what not to do with them, what to speak to them about and what not. And basically everything that the collective dead all has in common, regardless if they are individual or not.
We thank you all for watching our videos, and we hope that we both can learn more about the world of the occult, and we will always give you information that is truthful in spirit and in any way, shape or form that we can present it to you. We are here to guide you for those who need guidance and to help you on your path of enlightenment. We know the path of enlightenment is very difficult and never ending. However, once you're on the path, you can never go astray. Thank you.
And, of course, feel free to come into contact with us via Facebook, our website, or comment here to share your thoughts, opinions and suggestions on this video or on the entire series. Or, if you have any questions whatsoever, do not hesitate to ask us.
Remember,
as within,
so without,
as above,
so below.
And one more thing. We mean what we say. We are truly here to assist you. Because as you are now, novice, perhaps not even a novice, perhaps you're just having thoughts about pursuing the path to enlightenment and truth. We were once there as well ourselves. We know how difficult it can be. We know all the bullshit that people will try to pump into your head. We know all of that as we've been there ourselves. It will not be easy, we're telling you now. If you're already in the occult, you ought to know what we're talking about. It's definitely not easy because you have to filter through a lot of rubbish and bullshit to get to the truth, which is quite hidden.
Combined, we have over 28 years experience of the occult. Unfortunately, many of those years we discovered, or well, should I say fortunately, we discovered a lot of truths about the occult. And if you remove all the religious nonsense that is impregnated in the occult and superstitious bullshit, then you get to something which remains true always, and that is you. You that is simply the pentagram. All power comes from you. We will not air any information that is false or untruthful, because we live in spirit and in truth, as we do with even our normal from day-to-day things. We know, as my wife said, my consort said, it's a difficult path to tread. So you might be a novice, or you may not be a novice. However, you have to start somewhere. And where you start does not matter, but the path of enlightenment, remember, it's never ending. Okay? So do not believe everything you read or hear. Question everything, because that's the beginning of wisdom. If you want to be fooled by superstitious nonsense and religious dogma and teachings, then you have no place in the occult, because that simply has nothing to do with the occult, what it's about. And that's about it. Thank you.
Oh, and again, one more thing. It may seem as if these videos are catering only to novices or neophytes or whatever, but it is not. As time progresses, and we know there's more experienced practitioners watching this right now, we will speak about more experienced things for people who has walked this path for quite some time. But what we have just said, what my husband, my consort, has just said, this counts for you as well. Do not let yourself be fooled. Do not believe in all the rubbish that you come across, because in doing that, it will run yourself into the ground, and it is not an easy place to get out of.
And that's it.